I hate bugs. When the princes of hell were deciding what their appearance would be, it only makes sense that Beelzebub chose to be a fucking insect. Bugs were born from the fiery pits of hell and ascended onto the earth because they could not reach heaven, and because of this, they all collectively decided to torment the humans on this land. I hate bugs and bugs hate me. This mutual loathing started at the ripe age of, 4. I was happy and consumed by youthful bliss, enjoying the nice outdoors with a smile on my face. This doesn't happen anymore. The house I lived at had a sort of dirt path near the end of the yard, and sometimes it collected anthills, so as I was skipping through the yard, my parents warned me to stay clear of the ants. My 4-year-old's brain was not yet developed enough to understand how dangerous those blood-sucking demons actually were, but it did 5 seconds later because I stomped right in the middle of the anthill. Time seemed to slow as I watched hordes of ants crawl up my leg and sink their pincers into my flesh. I started screaming and crying hysterically until my parents came running over and swatting my leg to get all the ants off. I ended that day with an itchy leg and a developed brain. Now, you might be thinking, Molly, ants aren't that bad. There are much worse insects out there. I know, like wasps. This time I was 10 and I had gotten home from a strenuous day at school doing improper fractions and nothing in English class, and I was ready to lay on the couch and just relax. So I made my way over, laid my side down on the armrest, and immediately burst out crying as I felt my side being stabbed with the pain like no other. I ran away from the couch in tears and turned to see who tried to murder me. A beady-eyed creature sitting on my favorite blanket, staring right at me like it wanted seconds. I made my mom get rid of the wasp and had her wash my blanket because it was contaminated with devil spawn. I ended that day with a hurt side and a newfound hatred for wasps. Now, to be completely honest, I don't actually remember how it feels to be stung by a wasp, but it was enough to make me immediately burst out into tears, and that's enough for me to avoid them even now. And it's not like I haven't tried to be friendly with bugs. I like the occasional butterfly because they're at least pretty to look at and don't have stingers. When I was younger, I would try to hold ladybugs, but they ended up peeing and pooping on me, so that ended pretty quickly. You could make the argument that bugs like wasps and bees won't attack you if you don't bother them, so you shouldn't be afraid of them. But here's my counter-argument. Wasps and bees have the capacity to harm you because they have a stinger. That's like a human with a knife. If you're out and about and see someone walking around with a knife, you would probably want to avoid them. Now, imagine them running straight towards you. I'd say it's natural to be scared. Now, I try to avoid wasps at all costs. When I see a wasp, I just become completely consumed by fear, and my fight or flight response is always flight when it comes to bugs. However, this can be kinda tricky when you're on a bus. Having a bee or wasp stuck on a bus is actual torture. I would compare it to Russian roulette because you don't know who the bug's next victim will be. All you can do is cower in fear and hope it doesn't choose you. I would like to thank the kids who are brave enough to open the windows and try to get rid of the bees or wasps. They are the true heroes of this world. My most recent memorable encounter with the wasp was about 1.5 years ago. I was heading to my room to grab something when all of a sudden I heard a buzz. Instantly, all my senses were heightened. I looked around the room, waiting for another buzz, and saw it near my bed, and that was enough for me to run downstairs for backup. I made my sister and my mom go into my room to get rid of the bug, but after a decent amount of searching, they came out and said they couldn't find it. They asked me if I could try to find it instead, so I cautiously stepped into my room, my nerves on fire. I glanced around and took another step forward when I heard it. 5 inches away from me, sitting on my closet handle like it owned the place. I screamed and pointed to where it was, and my sister and mom got rid of it. Later, I was scared to sleep in my room because I didn't want there to be any more hidden wasps, so it took me a while to fall asleep. Sometimes I can still feel them watching me. I know this video took a little longer to come out, and that's because I'm back in school and my workload is killing me. It looks like I'll be posting at the end of each month, so my next video will probably be out around Halloween. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Toodles!